The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
You know what, Trevor? I've been saying this for years, okay? The best moves you make are the ones you don't make. And if you want to raise a family, you got to move to Abbotsford, okay? For real. My name's Kyle Bound, and I approve of this message.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Can you feel the energy, Kyle? Okay? Fresh off of one of the best damn wins of the season, you and I are here on Locked On Canucks. Welcome to the show. My name is Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks and also a Canucks writer with Daily Hive Vancouver. Before we dive into it, we got to thank you for tuning into Locked On Canucks because it is your Canucks every damn day. Part of that Locked On Podcast Network. They're doing the most for sports fans across the world. And for our show, again, we're not here without you listening, and we're also not here without those sponsors. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers place a $5 bet, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. It hasn't been perfect, but the Vancouver Canucks winning games in a playoff spot. And lo and behold, with JT Miller returning to the lineup, they put in their best effort of the season. But of course, it really wasn't all about JT Miller. In fact, it was some more unlikely heroes that helped the Canucks beat the defending Stanley Cup champions 4-0 last night at Rogers Arena. And in terms of those unlikely heroes, I think there's a big overall reason why the Canucks are better positioned to make some noise in the future, because depth matters. And let's talk about it, Kyle. The city of Abbotsford.
Ooh.
We'll also dive a bit deeper into Jake DeBrusk, his hot start, and was he the best UFA signing on July 1st, 2024? Oh, baby. We'll get into that and preview the weekend ahead. Before we do all that, let me introduce my co-host. I know he loves Surrey, but I know he's thinking about the move to Abbotsford. Kyle Bound, what's up, brother?
Dude, wherever Max Sasson is from, is his name Max Sasson? What's his name? What's this guy's name? This guy's too good. This guy's
Maximus Wrench Sasson, yes.
This guy's just playing hard right now. Hard in the paint. Just playing confident, playing clean. Again, a product of Abbotsford and wherever he's from. The Abbotsford Canucks, the development team. Hey, Manuel Hotra stepping into a new job. And I know it's early, but Friedman and Sasson helping the Canucks beat the Stanley Cup champs. And not in a must-win game, but in a must-win game. Okay, we definitely have to talk about Abbotsford and why Trevor and I are probably going to live there in a duplex with our families, man. That's how close we're getting. That's it's one thing I'm realizing in December, man. We're best friends like that. We might as well take the next step and move in together in a duplex. My family, your family, next to each other. Boom, bam. In-person podcast, living the dream. Anyways, first, before we talk about our future in Abbotsford, Jake DeBrusk versus Lindholm, Zadorov versus nobody. Let's throw Zadorov out of this conversation. Tomorrow, Boston's in town. We have to think about Elias Lindholm just a little bit. We're getting closer and closer to the anniversary of that big rental trade too. And this dude is on a team that's gotten their ass kicked twice this week. And this dude is a dude that has 3 goals and 10 assists in 31 games. And this dude is also a guy that Edmonton was happy Vancouver didn't keep, right? That's a cosign. And also, lastly, Trevor, touch on this. This dude is that dude that you and I, especially me, Kyle Bound, KYLEBHAWAN, was adamant about signing and paying a lot of money to stay around for a long time. And I'm so happy nobody listens to us, Trevor.
Don't go back and check out our episode about how the Canucks need to pay Elias Lindholm. But again, in an alternate reality, it could have worked in Vancouver. But lo and behold, it's nice that after years of Jim Benning, and I know I bring this up once in a while, but after years of Jim Benning pooping the bed, not even just pooping the bed, he got it on the walls too. Every damn time the calendar flipped to July 1st, that the Canucks are actually making good moves on July 1st. And, Kyle, to be honest, when the Canucks signed Jake DeBrusk on July 1st, my initial thought was that's a lot of term for a guy who has been kind of inconsistent. But look, we're at a point right now with Jake DeBrusk where, again, he's got 14 goals, 23 points in 28 games. He's been one of the best players, not just on the Canucks, but in the NHL since November 1st. He's looking like one of the best free agent signings in the NHL right now, especially based on the $5.5 million cap hit. Like, The only two other players that stand out to me in terms of better signings are, of course, Jake Gensel in Tampa Bay, who is 29 points in 27 games, but he's also making $9 million compared to 5.5 for DeBrusk. And Matt Duchene in Dallas, if you want to count that one, he re-signed with the
Okay,
Stars, one-year
relax,
deal, $3
Trevor.
million. Least
You're a
Stars in scoring.
You're a Duchene. You're a Duchene.
But
Kevin
those are the
Lankinen, come
only,
on, man.
to me, like kind of like let's look at the free agent list from July 1st right now. Like, what other signings stand out to you in terms of good signings, right? In July 1st. I mean, it's not just Jim Benning. A lot of general managers make mistakes, and sometimes it looks like a good deal and ends up not being a good deal. But obviously in Nashville, it's been an absolute train wreck with Stamkos, Marchessault, and Shea. You look at in Edmonton, Arvidsson and Skinner both been kind of disappointing. I know the Leafs liked Oliver Ekman-Larsson for a bit, but I think that's going to come back to bite him in the butt at some point as well. Tyler Toffoli's played okay in San Jose. Actually, he's been one of the better free agent signings. The Chicago Blackhawks with Tara Vinen and Tyler Bertuzzi, like they've been mid to bad. David Perron, no difference in Ottawa. In Seattle, I think Brandon Montour is a good signing. Chandler Stevenson has 3 goals, and he's making $1 bajillion. So again, there's a lot of kind of okay to bad contracts out there. And to me, Jake DeBrusk stands out as, again, at least a top 3 contract in free agency, if not the best one.
Yeah, and before you continue to ramble about these specifics of these free agent signings and honing in on July 1st, I didn't catch on to that for a couple minutes, and I interrupted you and talked about Kevin Lankinen, but I think there was an internet connection because I was like, yo, one of the best top 5, top 3, top 2 signings has been Kevin Lankinen. 3 shutouts, I think, if my math is correct, maybe 2. I'm offended you can't do math, but man, oh man, it's like we talk about how hard this transition is for a team to bring in so many new faces. And we talk about the Canucks struggling to find their identity. And then you go back to the point of reality where it's like, okay, this team's played 27, 28 games. What's the math? And they've lost 8 games in regulation. And you're like, okay, how does this all make sense? And then you have to look at the top end talent of their best signings, right? Lankinen, DeBrusk, and Kiefer Sherwood. I think Kiefer Sherwood's probably a top 5 July 1st signing too. Mm-hmm. Real talk. A glue guy, a bit of identity during a chaotic time, a lot of ins and outs, a lot of noise, a lot of uncertainty. But again, he feels like a veteran Canuck, like holding the boys together, like one of those guys. So one love to Kiefer Sherwood. All that being said, again, DeBrusk, and again, now I got to bring home bring the name up Lindholm, right? The trade that we somewhat made there, sort of somehow. These two will always be connected, especially based on the polarity of their output right now. Again, just to touch on it a bit though, like I try to go back to July 1st, and I know you and I hopped on the phone when DeBrusk did get signed, and we were disappointed. Again, we're 31 and a half years old, didn't know much. We're losing our marbles, I guess. Okay, come on, we gotta do it. We were wasted energy being super sad because again, DeBrusk is being superhero like more often than not, especially lately. Like this has been a 10 to 15 to 20 game stretch if you want to drag it back a bit longer to that first California trip. But all in all, though, I remember there was a point where I was like, dude, we might as well have just kept Lindholm based on his versatility, based on Edmonton giving him like the ultimate cosign, right? Oh, we're happy Vancouver that I kept him. I was disappointed that we made this quote unquote trade.
Yeah, and look, I mean, Lindholm in Vancouver, I think would have been a good fit. I think he would have had more than 3 goals and 13 points in 31 games if he was in a Canucks sweater.
You think so?
I think so. Yeah, of course I think so. I mean, look, you want to know who he's playing with in Boston right now, man? Come on, it is a dog's breakfast in Boston outside of Marchand and Pastrnak. And honestly, here's the thing: like Lindholm's bounced around the lineup, but he has spent a good chunk of time with Marchand and Pastrnak, and they just have not produced together. Yeah. And outside of that, his line mates are guys like Justin Brazeau, Pavel Zacha, Trent Frederick, Morgan Geekie. I mean, look, it just hasn't worked in Boston this season. I mean, they are damn lucky to be holding out a wild card spot right now. A lot of that is just because of games played, 15, 13, and 3 record. They have a minus 23 goal differential. That's one of the worst goal differentials in the league. Only the Montreal Canadiens have a worse goal differential in the Eastern Conference, and yet the Boston Bruins somehow are in a playoff spot, again, largely due to just the games played right now. And look, and we haven't even talked about Zadorov right now, but I know the conversation is kind of Lindholm versus DeBrusk.
We're not doing it. We're not doing it. We're not talking about Zadorov, man. We already did that a bunch of times, and I got to get over it. I got to get over it. And you know what, Trevor? Again, I feel like I also got to get over the fact that I was, again, so wrong. It's not as if I was I've been viewing every single Elias Lindholm game this year for Boston, but when I look at the box score and the basic stats, right, I tend to look back to not the good, but the bad with Lindholm, and that was the majority of the regular season, right? You're like, okay, I could see this guy having 13 points in 31 games. I'm pretty sure he had 13 points in 31 games with the Canucks. Like, I don't know how many points Lindholm had in the regular season, but it wasn't a lot. That being said, he was a thorn in the playoffs. I felt as if he ramped it up and became a sticky player to play against, right? A heavy player to play against. Go back to, I think, the first shift of Game 3 against the Oilers. Like, he laid the boom. I think the kids love that word, right? The boom. He laid the boom, and the Canucks scored very shortly after that. It just, those playoff moments made him again sticky. His intelligence, his frame, the defensive awareness. He seemed important, and it's good to now look at the present and be like, yo, Jake DeBrusk is doing it in the regular season, proving me wrong. But at the same time, showing me that there's a good chance that he will also be a big game performer, because he's done that in the past, and now he's on pace to have his best season ever. Like, we might get the best version of Jake DeBrusk come April, because again, playoff performer, all those things that Lindholm does, he kind of does that on the wing a bit quicker. This could be something.
Yeah, and I know Jan Jardine had in the comments, DeBrusk is on pace. 14 goals his last 19 pace, on pace for 60 goals. Look, Jake DeBrusk right now is on pace for 40 goals, right? He's got 14 goals in 28 games. So that's right, smack dab 41 goals, I guess, if you want to be exact. Now, with Jake DeBrusk, he's been a streaky player throughout his career. You expect him to, probably go a bit quiet at some point here, but, a 30-goal season isn't out of the question. That's something that he's been on that pace, but he has never actually put up 30 goals in a full NHL season before. But again, Kyle, like you alluded to, what matters most at the playoffs. And I just like the fact that he's finding chemistry right now, and his teammates, even Brock Besser was joking post-game last night that all you got to do is get the puck on net, and Jake DeBrusk is going to find a way to get it in. And those are the kind of guys you want on your hockey team, right? The goals don't always have to be spectacular snipe shows and dekes. Just get to the puck to the greasy areas. What have we been saying time and time again for the Canucks? They don't shoot enough. Just throw the puck in the damn crease and let a guy like Jake DeBrusk work his magic.
Okay, 100%. And the net front area that he's displaying such consistency in is again so playoff-esque, right? Like, you need those dirty goals, and he's doing the most. All that being said, though, I feel as if the conversation about his chemistry is a bit overhyped. I feel as if, like, 5-on-5, yeah, maybe he has some gritty goals in front of the net, but and maybe we'll never see this unless a guy like Pettersson becomes the alien consistently again. But it's the playmaking. Like, it's not like the sexiest hockey to watch. It's not the most intelligent hockey to watch. There's not a lot of 1, 2, 3, bang, bang. Outside of that, I feel as if outside of that that goal against Ottawa, right, where it was like Pettersson Sherwood to DeBrusk, it hasn't looked like chemistry's played the biggest part in DeBrusk's, just goal scoring of late and just being dynamic. All that being said, I am hopeful that we may, again, based on Pettersson coming back and doing his thing and unlocking that chemistry, we may actually see the best Jake DeBrusk year ever. You know what I'm saying? So again, Trevor, when you and I had that phone call on July 1st, and it was like 11:30, and I was still in bed, and I think I took a 10-minute break away from my phone. I think I was folding laundry, and you called me. I thought you were joking, man. We were pissed, bro. We were pissed. Because I'm like, yo, like a 50-point guy who's good in the playoffs at this 7-year commitment, Jake Gensel to Jake DeBrusk. I was choked. I was mad. And now I'm thinking about the conversation we had shortly after when we were trying to be optimistic about it, and you led this charge, and it's like, yo, like, but what if at this age, just like somebody like JT Miller, he starts peaking, like really peaking offensively, and what if he is a 70-point guy? And again, if Pettersson is going, like, maybe he's an 80-point guy. Like, you never know. He has the tools.
Yeah, 100%. And I think, again, analytically, he'd been good. And I think you and I just not watch a lot of Boston Bruins hockey. We're seeing like, oh, here's a 40-point guy signing for 7 years at $5.5 million per. And Mike Laval in the comments, tooted his own horn, saying that he believed that DeBrusk would be a 30 to 40 goal guy in the offseason. And he's, again, pumping his tires, and rightly so. One of the last things I'll say about DeBrusk at even strength so far this season is I see your point, Kyle, like maybe on a consistent game-to-game basis, the offensive juice hasn't been there, and you kind of dig into the numbers, and defensively he's been fine. Offensively, it's a bit of low event hockey with DeBrusk and Pettersson on the ice. You want to see a bit more offensive juice. That being said, overall, he's got 2.1 points per 60 right now, which is about a low end first line
Okay,
rate.
nerd. Wow.
So again, there's the production's there, man. It's hard to ask for much more from a guy who's again only making $5.5 million a season. I say only, but you know what I mean here on Locked On Canucks. But again, it's not a DeBrusk, one of the best free agent signings. Hit us up in the comments and let us know, is DeBrusk the best free agent signing from July 1st, 2024? But again, it's not all about the stars. On the other side, I do want to talk about the depth pieces, right? Because you need depth to win in the playoffs, and the Canucks seem to have found some secret sauce. I don't know, man. I don't know what's in the food out in Abbotsford, but it's working wonders. We'll continue to work wonders on the other side here on Locked On Canucks after shutting out our friends over at FanDuel and PrizePicks. All right. If you're playing daily fantasy sports, you got to go check out PrizePicks because they got over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. And PrizePicks, holy smokes, man, they're stepping up their game because all you got to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. So make the holidays. Come on, Kyle. Jingle bells, Batman smells, Robin laid an egg, okay? Make the holidays bigger and brighter with PrizePicks, the best place to get real money action while watching your favorite sports. And now PrizePicks offers MasterCard for quick and easy deposits into your sports account this season. Join now because this holiday season, PrizePicks is giving away 2 free picks in December, and they're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. It's my favorite time of year, man. So make sure you go download that PrizePicks app and use code LOCKEDONNHL to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's time to run your game. All right. And if you're just betting on sports, you got to go check out FanDuel, okay? Because they are America's #1 sports book. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. And the FanDuel Sportsbook app, they have it all, okay? So if you get a hunch in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. And Kyle, man, are you placing a few bucks in your Packers to beat the Seahawks on Sunday?
Why do you keep asking me these dumbass questions, bro? Come on, you already know my relationship with the Canucks. I actually love the Canucks. The Packers. I'm sorry, both teams. Okay, I love the Packers so much with my heart. I'm not putting money on the line. I'm not bringing in the Illuminati to my relationship. Just with the just with the Packers. But I'll use FanDuel with other things. Don't get me wrong, but not with the Packers. Come on, stop asking me that dumb question, man.
I love asking that question because the Packers are favorite. Reverse jinx. They're 2.5 point favorites on the spread. Seahawks, if you like them to win outright at home, they're plus 120 on the money line, baby. Whatever you're betting on, make sure you do so on FanDuel. Again, if you're a new customer, bet $5 and win $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bets. Again, that's on FanDuel.com.
People, we back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. That right there is Trevor Beggs. Speaking of the people, let's get into a little bit of the conversation in the comments just for a bit before we talk about Abbotsford. Okay, can we do that, please? Because the people are going off. Gigatronic saying the Packers stink. Sorry, Kyle. Say it to my face, buddy. All right, say it to my face. Look at this comment from Oliver, man, saying that Sasson played like McDavid in the first period. Okay, so Sasson, this dude, okay, is making me feel disloyal to Surrey. Really disloyal to Surrey, okay? In fact, something may happen to me after this. If I'm not recording an episode of Locked On Canucks tomorrow, you know why. But I enjoy Max Sasson way more than I enjoy R.C. Baines in the NHL. My name's Kyle Bound. I'm from Surrey. I approve this message. I'm sorry, but that is the truth. And a lot of that has to do with Sasson's confidence and also his willingness to try to make an impression and not play it safe more often than not. So, Beggsy, break down your report on Sasson because I'm seeing a lot and I'm liking a lot.
I mean, if we're being disloyal Surrey boys here, but one of the big differences for me versus Sasson, even Gary Mackey to understand, is the guy just plays with speed, man, like an incredibly high motor. and really good defensive awareness, which I think Lekkerimäki and Baines have as well. And even Ratu to an extent. I think all these guys in Abbotsford have pretty good defensive awareness for guys their age. But Sasson has the motor along with the defensive awareness. And again, it was really nice to see him. He made a couple great plays last night. It wasn't just the 2 goals. It was a holding at the blue line as well. He was just, again, like Oliver Sholnick says in the comments, he was just buzzing the first period. It was Max McDavid out there, man. Unbelievable stuff.
Max McDavid? Bro, that's a sick name. That's a Canadian superhero right there, man.
Oh, man.
Dude,
but
he just kills people with hockey sticks. That's literally what he does. Yep. A ninja with hockey sticks. Yep. There you go.
We go. Well, Dan Jardine saying in the comments, Sasson a more polished player than Baines. He's also a little older. He's older by 1 year, I believe. So he's not too much older, but again, to his point, a little bit more polished, and he's had the time in college as well. Sometimes that aids a player's development. SK93 in the comments saying, Max Sasson got that Yannick Hansen motor. Yeah, pretty much. He does have that. Yeah, he had it last night at least, right? And, very deserving of the ice time he got. And, throughout his time in the NHL right now, it's become a question, like, did the Canucks keep this guy full time? And I do think there's no proclamation right now. It is really a game-to-game thing. But Max Sasson deserves to be an everyday player right now. That could change, but he deserves to be an everyday player right now. And again, piling up the points, looking really good in the 4th line role. And Kyle, to the bigger conversation, I mean, one of the things that I believe has changed the Vancouver Canucks here, and you brought this up, we were chatting before the show, is having the team in Abbotsford has made a massive difference, both in terms of, what the Canucks have been able to do in terms of cap maneuverability, and the fact that guys are right there. I mean, they can call up guys to practice with the NHL team, get them hungry. They can shuttle guys back and forth with ease. It has made a massive difference to this team to have the farm team in Abbotsford. Not only are they putting on a good product in Abbotsford, but again, you got all these guys who can just rip down the highway and play for the Vancouver Canucks. And again, there's credit to this management team. You look at Aatu Ratu, Max Sasson, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, Archie Baines. These are all signings or draft picks or trade candidates in Ratu's case from this regime. Like, this regime stamp of the organization really coming through in terms of the depth right now.
No, 100%. And a lot of it has to do with the attitude. Rick Tocchet, I feel as if I'm stealing that from his press conference, but he's getting messaging from Manny Malhotra, a guy that we do definitely have to talk on just a bit, okay? But he's getting the message in that those who are getting sent down, like back to Abbotsford, whether it be the Ratus or the Lekkerimäkis or the Baineses, like Malhotra can tell that in practice they get it. They're doing more. They're getting better. They're not taking it personal. They got the right attitude. Because that's where overall this organization gets way, way, way better, way, way more professional. Again, in the details, in the practices, not taking it personal. I like how we're seeing that, because that is a Rutherford, Alvin, Tocchet. We got to clean house ASAP. You know why the Canucks they fired Boudreau, they bring Rick Tocchet in during the Connor Bedard tank. It's like for little things like that, like making sure that spell that they needed to cast over the whole organization just changed, and everyone just bought in to do what's best for the Vancouver Canucks. And to see it at the minor league level with the young players who get demoted, it's again just the perfect attitude. And let's touch on some of the personnel there at the top. And again, Malhotra, Ryan Johnson, but more so Malhotra. I mean, this guy stepped into something that was going to be very, very tough, in my opinion. So many, again, you talked about having like 10 new free agents being brought over to the Canucks. Like, they had to get a new AHL coach. And correct me if I'm wrong, like maybe he was an assistant coach in the AHL as well, but like, isn't this one of Manny Malhotra's first head coaching gigs, or am I tripping?
Yeah, I believe it's his first head coaching gig. He's been an assistant throughout his career behind NHL benches, at the very least. So yeah, like you said, Kyle, it was an incredibly tough job. And even the Abbotsford Canucks right now, you can you look at the roster compared to other AHL teams, and it's not to be harsh, it's kind of mid, right? Like, they got some good young players, but this isn't like some world beater team in the AHL. So yeah, Malhotra's got his hands full, especially. Again, the most important thing is development, though. And that's so far, again, you can't just give him all the flowers based on Lekkerimäki and, Ratu and Baines and all that. But, there's been good results from the young guys down there. And, even a guy like Danila Klimovich, who was lost last season, 9 goals, 13 points in 20 games. And then Jonathan Lecker-Mackey's got 10 goals in 14 games right now in Abbotsford. I mean, my God.
There you
it is
go.
working
Let's
down
give him
there.
his flowers then. Why do we have to wait, man? What's this thing in life all the time? We just waiting to give our homies their flowers, man. Like, what? He went into a hard position in the first 3 or 4 months. Like, a lot of players are passing to the point where option number 1 and option number 2, aka Archie Bains and Atu Ratu, are not playing as good, or have never played as good consistently as option number 3, which was option number 4, because Lecker-Mackey got a shot before Sasson, is again playing the best at all of them. Like, yo, Malhotra is doing things there. Again, his messaging, his leadership, it's, in my opinion, working at the AHL level, and it's a sign of good things to come. And the more and more I think about like these types of guys, whether it be like the Bainses and the Sassons, I'm thinking to myself, like, how close are they to getting like a Brian Rust or whatever, if I'm from, like out of these guys, straight up, like that's hitting the lottery. That's hard to do. That's really, really hard to do, because you're talking about overall somebody who has scored a lot more goals than a guy like Yannick Hansen, who SK brought up, right? But it's one of those things that could happen. You never know.
But no, it's a great point. Not necessarily that every guy that comes up has to be Brian Rust, but like, what was the joke with Pittsburgh during their cup years under Jim Rutherford and Patrick Allvin? They could call up Mark Donk and Buzz Flibbit, and they'd still come in and play top 6 roles and get some goals. And we saw some of those guys come to Vancouver, right? Like Sam Lafferty was one of those guys for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Teddy Bluger is one of those guys for the Pittsburgh Penguins. These are guys that are still holding down NHL jobs right now.
Kiefer Sherwood.
There you go. Exactly. So key for the reefer, baby. So again, it's something that this management team has been successful with in the past with the Pittsburgh Penguins. They obviously made it a priority when they came here to really build things up from the ground up. And they talked time and time again in 2022 about finding the free agents in college and Europe and other avenues. And I mean, again, kudos to them. They've done a really good job about bringing in the right players and setting up the foundation in Abbotsford, because, the Stars got to perform for the Canucks if they're going to win the Stanley Cup, but you also need depth. And right now, depth is showing up for the Canucks. And we haven't even really talked about Mark Friedman, who was just an absolute POS last night, man. Chucking the body, getting constant shifts with Quinn Hughes. I found that to be really interesting as well.
Yo, can you say that? Drop that line again. What did you just say right there, man? Yo, Trevor, man.
Absolute.
First, 15 minutes ago, we told the people that we made a episode and wrote a letter to the province saying that, yo, we have to keep Elias Lindholm. We just said that 15 minutes ago. Now we're talking about how Friedman and Quinn Hughes could be like the next Hronek and Quinn Hughes, man. That's crazy, man.
Oh man, almost seems like time to get to a break here, man. We're pushed up against it. This one's going long today, but we love doing this for the people. Got to preview the weekend ahead. Get to some comments and talk about the new best pairing in the NHL, Quinn Hughes and Mark Friedman. We'll be back on the other side after shouting at our friends over at Indeed. All right, it's the winter, baby. Come on, if you're unemployed, it's all good because Indeed's got you. Okay, so if you need a job or you're an employer who needs to hire, you need Indeed. They are your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data. And they got a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. So ditch the busy work and use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Indeed, they don't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree that Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. One of the things I love about Indeed is, they make those other matching apps look like garbage, man, because they match you up. Boom, bam. You're matched. You're hired. Let's go. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Listeners of the show, guess what? You'll get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/lockedon. Just go to Indeed.com/lockedon right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this very podcast. Indeed.com/lockedon. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
People. We back doing this, and that's talking about your Vancouver Canucks, Kyle Bound, Trevor Beggs. Hey, one love to the Don't Doze Art Lab. Hey, one love to Uncle Strut. Okay? Shout out to your uncle, but your uncle's not cooler than Uncle Strut, okay? Who's that? Check him out on Spotify. They're in the studio right now, too. So the vibes are good. Speaking of just that, right? The community, the people in the room, you guys in the room, too. And I want to read a couple more comments because y'all are making me think, man. Look at this one from Static Official, okay? The rapper on the program. If you guys don't know Static Official, I'm pretty sure this dude wrote for LL Cool J or something. I don't know if that's right, or Young Dolph. One or the other. Anyways, he's saying Merry Christmas, Kyle and Trevor, from me and my girl. Static likes to watch this with his girl. So I'd like to give them some advice here, man. Like, you better get her a nice Christmas gift, because I got confused there. I was like, Merry Christmas. Is it Christmas today? Boom, I looked at the clock. It's December 13th. I'm like, damn, it's 12 days till Christmas. I don't even know what I'm getting my girl. I haven't thought about it or nothing. And Static, if you're watching this, if you want to keep your partner happy, your wife happy, your girl happy, you just got to start planning things, okay? They love that. They love the effort.
I actually heard that Young Static and his girl, they actually make love while watching Locked On Canucks, man. So you want to get your girl a gift, get her a Locked On Canucks subscription, baby. Let's go.
Whoa. You know what, Trevor? This is a true story. Again, I just brought up the boys at Uncle Strut, making music in the studio and whatnot. I don't make love to music because one or two times out of nowhere, like, I could hear my friends singing in the background, and it makes things really, really awkward. Like, so I just stopped listening to music while making love. Anyways,
you don't like to do it while your friends are watching it. That's all right.
I'm not that confident. Okay. Anyways, next comment. Look at this comment from Happy Jacks. Okay. He's saying that he doesn't want to see this team pull the trigger too soon on a trade. I thought about this a lot yesterday while watching the game. Because, as Kurt Richardson also alluded to here, last night was the first game all the forwards were dressed for the Vancouver Canucks. All the big guys, right? Including Max Sasson, okay? All those guys were there. And again, we saw positive results. The team only had 19 shots, but it seemed so like last year, it was refreshing to see just that type of effort, especially that type of grit against a really good team, a team that I think was like 6-1 in the last 7 games or something.
6-0-1, yeah.
And the Stanley Cup champs, right? They did their thing. So yeah, I'm watching that game and now I'm reading this comment and now I got to ask you the question. Like, are you still on the boat that this team needs to make a trade ASAP, or have you warmed up more to like, yo, why don't we just do it end of January, like, right before the All-Star break, before Nations Cup type of thing, like what they did with Lindholm last year?
That's a tough one. I lean towards them making a trade sooner rather than later, because there's been kind of a pattern here of the Canucks defense just not being very good. And yeah, Susie stepped up, and Mark Friedman comes in and he looks good. But like, what are we talking about here, right? You got a right side right now with Hronek out of the lineup of Tyler Myers, Mark Friedman, and Noah Juleson. It's a position of weakness for the Canucks.
Okay.
It just depends on the package and who's out there, right? And
I got to cut you off there because I want to get into this with you, okay? Maybe you want to press the button, or maybe you're going to agree, because I think there's a chance that you and I are in sync on this because we're honest people, okay? But man, oh man, the silver lining in Hronek being hurt. Again, the need for Hronek and Hughes to kind of be split up if these are most of our defensemen, right? We kind of wanted that later on prior to Hronek's injury, and we're getting it now based on the unfortunate, but hey, we're getting it, and that's Hughes and Myers. And again, Tyler Myers actually playing pretty well. I'm sorry, dude. He's playing pretty well, and if he just watches the Hronek film and he realizes that all I have to do is play it safe and then also play a little physical, and just give Quinn Hughes the puck all the time, I can make this work. Like, I feel as if I'm seeing his best hockey this season as well.
Oh, you got real optimistic real quick on Tyler Myers. Okay. I don't know if I want to poo-poo on your parade, but don't you think it has a lot to do with playing with Quinn Hughes?
Exactly, but like this is how, like, what if he can play that role though? Just because you know how you and I, we've been preaching that, maybe what helped Myers out last year be a lot better was him just doing way less. Like, strip it down, humble yourself, the ego, like drip it down. You're not that guy. You're not the Calder winner. Don't do any of the stuff you think you can do. Just play it safe. Don't be instinctual. Just use the tools around you in the game of hockey and the practice and some of your athletic ability to just do the simple things, and maybe you'll be fine. And if, again, he's, to me, showing that maybe he's doing that with Hughes, maybe Hughes talked to him like, yo, I know you're playing with me now, but just don't do anything. Literally don't do anything. Just let me do everything. For real. That was a conversation. Maybe he can make it work, and that's how when Hronek comes back, like there's more of an option to split Hronek and Hughes up. Because again, based on the eye test, I know St. Louis had a lot of breakaways. Like these games haven't been perfect. They have not been defensive masterclasses. But correct me if I'm wrong. I don't see Myers being at the top of the mistake list. It's literally like the Desharnais, the Julesons, and the et ceteras, right?
I think it's a big game. I think it's a big game to game. I think, yeah, right now in the short term, Desharnais probably deserves more. He even knows Höglander. Here's one crazy stat I wanted to throw at you. I know I'm diverting a bit. Max Sasson has 4 points in 9 games this season. Nils Höglander has 5 points in 28 games this season.
Yeah.
Not to go dark on you, but yeah, you're talking about guys who deserve criticism. Höglander's up there, Desharnais up there. Juleson's been up and down. Susie and Myers have been better,
but not Tyler Myers right now. And you know what, Trevor? Remember, man, I said I wasn't going to make fun of Tyler Myers for 10 days, and I think I'm holding true to that. I don't know how long it's been. Maybe it's already been 2 weeks. Okay, but he just again when homie EK14, what's his name? Like guy from Minnesota. What's his name? Joel Eriksson.
Oh,
okay,
Eriksson, yeah.
Okay, so. Boom, bam. He goes after Sherwood in that game. No call. Pretty dirty hit in my opinion. I don't give an inch what anyone says. That was an intentful play, okay? To inflict some damage. Next thing you know, 15 minutes later, 20 minutes later in the third period, at some point, Tyler Myers defends his teammate and gives the same guy a heavy cross check in the back. A big time cross check. I started softening up, and maybe my eyes afterwards have been lighter and softer when watching Myers. But again, in recent history, a lot of this has to do with Hughes. But hey, if it brings out the best in Myers, maybe we're a deeper team. I'm just not minding the way that's looking. And maybe they can get better, and maybe they can spend Christmas together. And I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Boom, bam, do the math. Boom.
Kyle. Interesting stuff, buddy. Okay, we got to wrap up here on Locked On Canucks. Let's talk about the weekend a bit. Playing the Boston Bruins on Saturday night. Gigatronic in the comments also asking how your DJ set went last night. Again, sorry, no post-game show. I was being a tired dad. Kyle was busy being a professional DJ. Gigatronic also asking predictions for Saturday, close game or a blowout.
No, I think it's a blowout.
Woo!
I think it's a blowout, and I think it's that because Demko gets to start. Saturday, boom, bam, big moment, because now there's noise about, maybe Lankinen should just play on Saturday too, because he's, riding the high hand. He's been playing damn good. Really, really good if you think about it, right? He was really impressive against Tampa Bay, and then you look at what he's done, against Florida and whatnot. This guy's playing hot right now, and you need the wins. Play him tomorrow too. It's all good. Demko will get his reps before the playoffs, but in my opinion, it's like you got to give Demko the start tomorrow, don't you? Like, he's your dog. It's Saturday. He's your dog. He's your guy. Like, he's back. Like, if he's good enough to be a backup, he's good enough to play on a Saturday night after he didn't play the night a couple days before. Like, that's what my logic is. And I think because of that, and having, again, all these forwards back, and Boston just not being a confident team right now, I think the Canucks might smell a little bit of blood here and want to put on a show a bit for a fan base that deserves it. Again, Christmas is very soon. People are going to an early Christmas gift tomorrow, okay? That Canucks game is a gift they got to open up early. It's going to be a big moment, and I think the Canucks show up and walk all over Boston.
I like your optimism, man. I mean, the interesting thing about the Canucks schedule, it has been a weird season, as we've alluded to here on Locked On Canucks, and you get lackluster performances against bottom-feeding teams like Columbus and St. Louis, even though they got some pieces and some players. And then all of a sudden, the 6-0-1 defending champs come into town, and the Canucks put up their best effort of the season. So I'm not quite sure what to expect from this team right now. I do believe in the law of averages to an extent, and in that game in Boston dominated on the shot clock. The Canucks ended up with the shutout. I just wonder, and I'm not going to say they're going to lose, but I do think it's going to be a close win for the Canucks on Saturday night, just because I think the law of averages has to come into effect a bit here. I wouldn't be surprised if Lankinen started to keep the shutout streak going. He also shut out Boston as well. But I do agree with you, Kyle. I think you ride with your dog. You kind of rotate these guys.
Let's go.
You got Colorado on Monday too. That's not an easy game either. So technically the Boston game would be easier. So maybe you ride the hotter hand of Lankinen against Colorado. Yeah. Play Demko on Saturday against Boston. I think it's going to be a close game. Maybe call it like a 5-3 win for the Canucks.
I like it 5-3.
DeBrusk with the game winner, of course.
Close game, all this stuff. Jake DeBrusk is the game winner. I'm thinking, why not just do it again, man? Boston cannot score goals. They can't. They can't score goals. So I'm saying a 4-1 victory. Please, man, please, Saturday, it's the holidays. The weather's so nice. Mother Nature just being nice to us right now. Let's get this dub. Let's score some goals. Let's impress the brass on this Saturday. Go Canucks, go. Trevor Beggs, Kyle Bound, Locked on Canucks. Damn, this was a long episode, man.
So happens to do a post game now, man. Unbelievable.
A lot to talk about, man. A lot to talk about. One love to you and you and you and you. If you enjoyed the episode, hit the like button. It's the holidays. Do the math. That's life, baby. That's life. Beggsy, sign us out.
Yeah, and if you want to, get your significant other subscription to Locked On Canucks, you can do so for free and let the lovemaking commence, baby. Whether you're making love to Locked On Canucks or not, we love each and every one of you for tuning in. If you like what we're doing, go subscribe and like the video on YouTube. On the podcast side, we'd love you guys there. Go follow us. Leave a 5-star review. We're nothing without you tuning in. So keep tuning in and following us for the ride, baby, all the way to the Canucks winning that Stanley Cup. We'll be back probably on Saturday night for a post-game show, but for sure on Monday. Oh, for sure, bud. We'll be back on Monday here on Locked On Canucks. But for now, we got to go. I'm Trevor Beggs. That guy's Kyle Bound, and you've been listening to Locked On Canucks.